Hello and welcome to the UK Surf Show. We are your hosts. I'm Pete.
And I'm Mitch, and we're just back from our holidays, baby! I'm going to take these off because I feel like a twat inside. We're just back. We're just back from the Rising Tides Festival as part of Boardmasters 2025. When I say I'm just back, it's probably because I've been driving for about 3 fucking days to get back. However, on this episode, we chat to Chris from Wavelength, from Daihatsu, Jiu-Jitsu. I'm not even sure. Pete remembers the name of this well because Pete cracked the code as to what the name of the agency is and what it stands for. So we should get straight into this and we'll come back at the end.
We should. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Cool. My name's Chris Thomson. I'm the managing director at Dysujo, and Dysujo is a group of companies that form up Wavelength, Longboarder Magazine, Turnover Surf Shop, Marwick Marketing, Cassette, and the UK Surf Skate Expo.
Oh, that's a lot, but maybe we start with the location that we're in, because actually I've never been here. I'm assuming you guys haven't been here that long. I don't know if I'm right or wrong there, but this is turbo cool.
Yeah, since May. Since the start of May.
Okay, and we're just on Town Headland-ish?
Yeah, on just above Town Beach, on the Killer Courts in Newquay.
So this is HQ of UK surfing.
HQ, yeah.
That's kind of what it feels like.
I mean, I don't know where to start. Let's start, because I know I'm going to be talking about the Surf and Skate Expo for a very long time. So let's start with Wavelength. How Wavelength was acquired and where that came from, because I think most of the UK people thought Wavelength was dead and gone.
Died. Yeah. Which would have been sad because it's been around for as long as us, I guess. I'm assuming 1981.
Yeah.
Well, 82. We're close.
No comment.
So we had an opportunity to take it over early last year, so early like Easter, spring 2024. It died out for various reasons, but we weren't prepared to see it completely die because, like you guys, we grew up with it. You know, it was like a window to an awesome world. Like I grew up surfing on the Isle of Wight before moving here when I was 17. So surf mags were a big part of that. So we were able to kind of rescue the good bits, and we've since published 2 issues and keeping it rolling.
And how straightforward is that to acquire something as kind of regardless of where it was at in terms of as a business? Was it straightforward, or was it quite complex?
A bit of both. Yeah. I think the easy things were harder than they should have been, and the harder things were actually easier than they should have been.
It feels like normal life, that's
standard, isn't it?
And what kind of challenges has that brought for you guys? Is it a lot of learnings, or was it quite a natural fit to kind of, it sounds like you're immersed in quite a lot of other things as well?
A natural fit, because we, myself and Sam Bleakley, we were doing Longboarder Magazine anyway, and have done for the last few years. So Wavelength fit really neatly into that. So it was quite a natural adoption.
And I do have a Longboarder Magazine edition sat proud in place in my.
You've also got a longboard, but you don't like to mention it very often. So
well, it just never gets. It's very dry. It's been dry for a long time.
He's not found the correct
safe
path
space.
yet.
It's never a safe space ever.
Yourself, longboard, shortboard, what all round?
I would say now, like 90% longboarding, 10% shortboarding. Growing up, 50-50. I shortboarded as like a kid, and then as soon as I hit about 14, I just got really tall and lanky, and it just looked really
obviously
awkward.
body's getting tired at that age, and you need something easier
to slow down.
I've gone the other way around, haven't I? I've literally started going shorter and shorter now for some reason. But I took out the longboard in Widmouth the other day.
Nice.
I caught one really nice wave, and I was just like, oh, I love my longboard, and then the rest of the time I take a shortboard out in the ocean and look like an absolute moron that doesn't know what they're doing at all, which is pretty accurate actually. So, but
it's not that I don't like longboarding though. It's just that I just don't have the grace, technique, or thought process to make it even look okay, let alone good.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, though it's nice. I had a really good wave at Saunton with Jack Best and Eric Davies and this reprobate, and it was like definitely the longest wave I've ever had by a long way. And don't get me wrong, I was absolutely buzzing on it.
Nice.
But still, like, trying to do a top turn and even doing a mediocre top turn felt much better than that long wave. Yeah. Because I didn't really do anything except go right.
Yeah, that's your problem. Once you start moving around on the wave on a longboard, it's different again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's another angle. That's a step too far for me.
Let's continue on longboarding. So Longboarding magazine as well. How did that come about? Why did that start, and where did it come from?
A long story. I can try and condense it. So many years ago, I set up a surf holiday company, and then we sold it and moved to Canada. When we moved back from Costa Rica, because it's Canada then Costa Rica, due to COVID, we just had the marketing agency, and I kind of said to myself I wouldn't do anything in the surf industry anymore, and then
how did that work
bumped
out
into
for you?
Sam. And I was
now you do everything in the surf industry.
Do you want to do a surf longboard magazine? Because we've got the only real representation for longboarding globally is the Pacific Longboarder out of Australia, and Sam's obviously an absolute legend and probably way too smart to be a surfer, but he was just a great natural fit to be editor, and so it was just a bit of a side project, and that's just then led to one thing that's led to another and so on. How
do you find with, I guess, sort of higher level or industry level longboarding, how do you find that the respect, the gratitude, the inclusion longboards get from, say, WSL and other sort of higher level agencies because what you see is a lot of longboarding used for advertising, and probably you see more longboarding used for advertising than shortboard, yet longboards from a competitive level, I feel like they just don't get the kudos, even from the WSL.
Yeah.
Obviously they changed the longboard competition, not the format, but the event and the window. I think they get 3 or 4 events in the year on WSL.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a piggyback off, and it's not even at the best spots. How do you see that? I'm wording this really badly, I know, but
no, I think there's a few things there. So the what's really interesting, I was talking to Sam about this a while back, but if you look at some of the big brands' main advertising from the female perspective, a lot of it is they're using longboard imagery.
Yeah.
Because it just women on longboards look amazing.
Yeah.
So there's tons of brands using that for their branding, but actually female longboarding is one of the lowest paid elements of surfing. So there's a massive mismatch there that needs to be addressed. And then on the contest thing, it seems like it's always a bit of it's an add-on,
an afterthought.
But then that's where you get the Mexi Logfest, the Gliding Barnacles, and those contests that are kind of stepping into that. This is longboarding is it's more festival vibes, not competition.
Yeah.
So I think
I always feel longboarding's had more an underground skateboarding vibe to it than the main the main vibe that goes on, where you said those other little festivals that are now getting bigger and bigger and celebrating it. I think it's been where WSL have just, like you said, just basically ignored it, sort of thing. Ignore it and it'll go away, and people have started to do their own things. And people have started to do their own things and been actually there is a lot of interest in it. It does look better on photos and videos. And I think they've got to take note.
It might also be as well at grassroots level, some of the best longboarders in Europe aren't also interested in competition.
Right.
So it's if you're an up and coming super grom shortboarder, you're going to want to do competition. Whereas if you're an up and coming excellent logger, you might not want to go down that path at all.
Alone.
You just want to do your.
That's fair.
So maybe it's a bit of everything.
Yeah. And what about your own surfing? Where did that kind of start for you?
I was 9 on the Isle of Wight. I was really lucky to have a Saturday job at Offshore Sports, which was a surf shop on the island back then.
So that's the only surf shop on the island back then, wasn't it?
Was, yeah.
I only know because when you said about your age at about 9, I went to Isle of Wight about then, and I went to that same place because they used to do a few different things on the beachfront there, didn't they?
Whitewater Sports or whatever it was called. Yeah.
So I'd have been there then.
There you go.
Yeah.
So Pete started your surfing journey.
That's
what he's trying to say.
Yeah, first girl about that age. First girl I ever fell in love with as well at that age.
Oh no! And what was it that got you into it? Was it just that you were around it, or
I was mad keen on skateboarding, and then then surfing just blew my mind. I think for me it was a bit of an escapism. Like it was quite. I took a lot from being in the sea. And then that kind of obviously start at 9. By the time I was failing my GCSEs, I was like, I'm out of here. The Isle of Wight's boring.
Okay.
And then moved to Newquay just after my GCSEs and lived at Fistral Backpackers for about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
In a smelly dorm room with 6 other boys.
That must have been awful.
Good way to go. And then, I mean, that to this place, and then I think the Surf and Skate Expo, which is coming up very soon, which this will come out before the Surf and Skate Expo. I said to Mitch, first of all, Surf and Skate Expo. He's like, yeah, I've seen some bits about it. And then there's, I think, the last, or the episode before, he actually had up what was on, and he starts going through it and reading it. And I literally lost him completely halfway through a podcast because he was too busy reading, going, oh.
Well, I'm not a skater, so you're hearing these names, and you're like, whoa, and I'm sort of like, what? What happened? But like when I was reading it, like I said, I had the webpage open when we were doing an episode, and I was sort of reading through it, but I was like, I need to close the page because this is a podcast, we need to be speaking, and I was like, there's actually so much going on. You don't have to be a skater, do you, to come and enjoy it?
How awkward has this been to organise?
I
don't. I'm going more on skaters because I know what skaters are like.
Yeah. I mean, so I think the cool thing about it is 6 months ago it didn't exist.
Yeah.
And now we are 4 weeks away, and it's looking really good.
Yeah.
Like, we got Tony Alva from the Dogtown era coming over to a presentation. We got there's tons of speakers, 65 brands come in showcase. So it's it's been really good. I think it's creating a bit of it's just a gathering of communities really, and I think the reason we wanted it to be not just surf but also skateboarding is that they've always been interlinked for decades, and I think it's what's cool about the expo is we're going to see, I keep thinking of it as like a mini Marrakesh where you're going to have the tribes from the Scottish surfers from Edinburgh coming down and mixing with the skateboarders from Bristol, but everyone's kind of got that same outlook on life, aside from traveling sideways, but just things, I think life is a bit more fun.
One of those things as well with having Tony Alva there as well is one of the people who's credited for basically creating modern day skateboarding of how it is. And it's interesting to because some people, I know people that skate and they've been like, why would I be interested in surfing? I'm like, well, because if it wasn't for surfing, you wouldn't be skateboarding probably. And you get the other way around, people that are surfing and haven't got any interest in skateboarding, but to see the person who created that link sort of thing, and I know there was other things around, but the way it is now is more or less down to him and a few others.
Yeah,
it'd be quite interesting to hear what he's got to say, actually.
Yeah, it's going to be because I didn't realise he'd also spent quite a bit of time on the North Shore with Ted Deerhurst back in the day, and and one of the first guys to go above the lip on a skateboard, and that then translated back to surfing.
Yeah.
So as a first kind of keynote for our first year, he's a great ambassador of someone that kind of weaves that story between surfing and skateboarding.
Yeah.
So.
And how have you found has it been challenging pulling it all together, or has it been fairly straightforward?
Well, I didn't have grey hairs 6 months ago.
Sadly, adult life, and it's just, that's the reality, isn't it?
No, to be fair, it's the response has been there's been the wind in our sails, from the different brands, big and small, to the people on the street, getting excited about it, to the speakers, and I think that's enough wind to okay, let's make this as good as we can make it.
For sure,
I've heard the UK Surf Show picked you up as well massively. Said
they're
going to be there. They,
loads
of people are coming just to see them.
Just to see, autograph signings.
Well, we appreciate the shout and the invite to come down to it.
That'd be cool.
It's really, for us, it's amazing to get that kind of. Obviously, there's got to be some sort of mutual respect there, because it tells us that we obviously put a lot of time into what we do, give up a lot of our time, costs us a lot of our own money, sort of thing. And there's obviously days where you're like, oh God, I've got so much to do for the show. Like, I don't even have my time for myself, sort of thing. But actually, these are the sort of moments.
Normally a Sunday afternoon when he's got to put the edit out in 3
I know,
hours.
yeah. Like, I better do this 3-hour edit then. But it's like these are the things that shows it's worthwhile, as well as, the people that come up and be like, oh, listen to that episode and say really nice things about it.
Yeah.
So like, genuinely, we're super grateful to have the opportunity to come down and be part of it. So
that's the whole vision behind it, is that we've created the platform, and then it's about what you want to take or be part of, and how you and all the different input and communities, and that's all it is. We just, here's a date, here's a focal point. Come on down and mix. And because I think we live in such a digital world where everyone knows everyone from like Instagram, but it's nice to have something where you can actually meet people or whether that's a brand or an athlete or a person that you've.
I laugh at that because I recently saw someone that I'm friends with on Instagram, and neither of us said hello to each other in real life. We were skating at the same place and just like nodded at each other, and that was it.
Yeah, it's so
which is
true,
kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like you have all these, I guess you could call it exactly that, Instagram mates, people you chat to and you never meet, and then you're like, it's such an odd thing. In fact, Danny, Rising Tides Festival, he listens to the show, and we were chatting in the absolute pitch black last night at the place we were staying. He was trying to he's Super Healthy Burger King, and I was on my way to the toilet, and we were having a conversation, and he's like, I know that voice, and he was like, we just got chatting shit, and he was just like, I feel like I've known you for years, and I kind of hope that's kind of the vibe we give off with the show. It's just mates in a pub, catching up, having a chat with no real narrative, no agenda. So it's nice when people do that.
Yeah.
And I wondered, obviously you're very immersed in the whole event, the Surf and Skate Expo. What is there a single element that you're looking forward to most during it?
Well, I think that the evening with Tony Alva is going to be cool. I'm also looking forward to. We got some elements to the skate ramp that haven't been done before, which we'll keep somewhat secret.
Come on, give us one exclusive of what's happening.
I can't. I would get shot.
Is it a hot air balloon over a train? Some Red Bull thing.
So I think there's going to be it's free to get into the Expo Village, and it's like 40 quid to get an all access pass to the presentation. So for the value of money, I think there's going to be so much going on. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to. Is actually being. I'll be in that position where like, man, I want to see that talk, but I want us to see this happening. Yeah. And so I'm kind of looking forward to that chaos in my mind of like, where am I going to be when? Because I really want to go to all these different things.
I've got this similar thing because from our initial conversation of like, we'll go there, we'll do some interviews and stuff like that, and now I'm like, yeah, but I want to see this guy talk. I want to see this. And now I'm thinking, yeah, but if I do that, then this person's available to talk to them, and it's just going to be a ball ache to try and work out. So basically, we worked out the week before up until the Thursday, I think it is, and then the weekend is just going to be wherever, whenever we can grab whoever.
I'm worried it's going to go too quick. And I for trying to like immerse yourself in all of it that's going on.
Oh, it's impossible to enjoy an event that you've pulled together. I mean, as a recent example, we had the Highland Fling up at Lost Shore, which I was, me and a kind of small team of us pulled it together. And I kind of thought that, when everyone's arrived safe, I've outreached to all these surfers globally. Weirdly, every one of them that agreed to turn up turned up. Like I was waiting for calls to say like, oh, this flight's gone missing. Like, what do you mean it's gone missing? Oh, it's actually gone missing.
Like that's the day before.
So like, these are the calls I was waiting for, but everyone turned up, and I was sort of like, right, once everyone's there, I've kind of done my job, at least in part of the build up to this. But then, of course, I'm going to go film. Like, I'm still looking after the athletes and all these other things. The only heat I even got to watch actually was Heat 1, the first wave, and I only know it was the first wave because it was Connor who won it in the end. Connor Donegan dos Santos who won. Because the way we set it up, we tried to change the format because we can be honest. Surf competitions, if you're a surfer, are quite dull because you're watching people do the thing you love to do. Yeah. Like after 5 minutes, unless we're talking like death-defying chopu and mad waves, you sort of like, I'm just going to go do that now. And then I guess the format and wave pools, again, they add to that. Oh, it's a bit dull. So we just tried to mix it up entirely. So the way it ended up happening was that I think the competitors had to take, it was like wave 2 and then 4. 2 people in each heat on each side. But Connor took off on the very first wave in the set. I was trying to get the Instagram live going for Lost Shore, and that was the only one I got to watch because it was, I heard it on going, that's a no score because you took the wrong wave. And that was the only wave of the entire event I got to enjoy. And I was like, it wasn't even a scoreable wave.
Yeah, I guess that's the problem, isn't it?
It is.
You miss out on the... Well, I think we're going to try and record everything, so I'll hide myself in a room on Monday after the event and watch back all the presentations.
I think what you'll get though is similar to me, was that I didn't watch anything back, but thankfully my feed was just full of everything Highland Fling. So I suspect you'll have the same. And actually, I think that is a nice thing. It's like when it's not you talking about it, and the thing that you're part of, when it's everyone else that came, the hype, it's real. That's what's cool.
To be honest, I love to see anything when you're not talking about it.
That's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, so like, who else have you got coming? Who else are speakers that people can... That's gone.
Speaker-wise, so Andrew Cotton, he's doing a presentation on how he accidentally became a pro surfer, which is quite funny. That should be a good one. Lucia Grigi, so first, I believe she's was the first female to paddle out and shoot pipe from the water. She's based in the UK. We have panel discussions with Surf in England, panel discussions on the future of UK surfboard shaping with Nigel Semmons. There's loads.
Is that based the UK, the future of UK surfboard shaping? Is that based around sustainability?
Yeah, definitely. I think, and just and day to day, like, you know, feasibility and sustainability.
Because it's such a massive topic as well. I think there's a huge, like, I think it's probably fair to say that most people, the vast majority of people, not just surfers, but people, would love everything in their life to be sustainable and ethically sourced and everything else that goes with that. But at the same time, you know, it has to have longevity. It can't cost more if it's going to last the same time. It has to kind of match what we already have. So it'd be interesting to see, and here actually we're hosting a conversation around the same topics this weekend, to hear what these industry experts have to say about it, and hear some sort of answers to questions from, I guess, a layman like us.
Why don't you always point at me when you say layman?
I said us.
You always point at me first. He goes like, a layman, like us.
And then us.
And then us.
It's all right, I'm used to it, don't worry.
Yeah, so I'm just curious to hear what people have back to say. Again, we use this as a flippant example. We were chatting to somebody today, and you know, there was a huge, I remember maybe about 2 years ago, there was just a massive push. I don't know if it was a massive push, but there was certainly, I felt like I was being bombarded with it. I was getting loads of DMs about, oh, why don't you try the ethical wax that we've just made? And sort of now I don't really hear any of that, and probably for the most part was because, from my experience, nothing that I tried, used, or held back about worked.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't have longevity, then is that sustainable? If I have to buy twice as much of it?
It's a really interesting subject, isn't it? Because I think as like, it can almost like be too much. Like the information is too much, and a lot of it is incorrect as well. Yeah. And so as an average kind of like surfer, you kind of can feel a bit overwhelmed, and you're like, well, oh, you know, this is. Where do you draw a line? Like, I'll do my best.
Yeah. I think that's what we say. I think that same thing as you're sort of saying is that we say we'll give people a voice to talk about it, but we can't know everything and do everything ourselves. If you come out with a product, we'll use it and we'll give people the voice to talk about their products and talk about their things that they're passionate about, which is the same you can do with the magazines and everything, obviously. But you can't be at the forefront of everything that's going on yourself. It's just impossible.
And it's, you know, not everything is as black and white as you think, either, like the sustainability stuff. I think at the end of the day, though, like we surf in the ocean, like we're not Formula One drivers, we're not, you know, dirt bikers. Like this is actually quite a green sport. And I think there's a line where we can end up beating ourselves up a lot, where everyone's really depressed because we're constantly like not eco enough, or we're not this enough. It's like, if everyone does the best and becomes more educated, then that's fine. But like, it's something you've got to chip away at it, don't you?
Yeah, the conversation's absolutely the start point, right? And that's it. The information piece you mentioned, it is so difficult to know what's right, what's wrong, but also then factor into the conversation that, well, why is this person telling me, you know, if they're almost preaching to me about this element of whether it be sustainability, ethics, why are they telling me that? You know, maybe they're just hardcore immersed in it and that's their whole life. But whilst I get what you're saying, it doesn't mean
and the thing, like, a lot of the time, you're still trying to sell something to someone.
Exactly.
It's like it's a market, so there is an element of marketing there.
Yeah.
It's just at the minute.
And other problems, I guess, you add in is profits as well. And I'm not going to say who it is, but I'm just going to say it. No, I'm not. I can't. But there's a massive piece, something we've just had a big shift in the wetsuit market. I'll say that much. And the things they're selling, which are
what the
much
fuck you're talking
good.
about.
The things that are being sold, that every surfer needs, is being sold more expensive than the original version of that product. But actually, it turns out that the new sustainable version of that product, completely sustainable version of that product, costs much less to produce, much less to work with, transport, all that kind of stuff. But they charge more for it, I suspect, because of the sustainability element. It's almost like a sustainability tax. So again, I'm like, how could I pay more money for a product that I have to buy to be a surfer that's already very expensive, but I don't know anything about it because it's a new version of this product, and you're just trying to make profit? How about at least if you matched the price of the counterpart version, and hopefully people are keeping up with what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say what it is.
He's glazed
but you
over.
get
on their own
people can decide. That's getting cut out. I'm not that word is getting cut out, but it's frustrating all the same. Like, stop if you want to try and sell sustainability, make it affordable as well. And I think that's what for people to be able to experience it and understand it more. I think get that entry level for us all.
I guess the problem is for it to get to that level, you need en masse participation of that product for them to bring the cost down. But I think the problem is it's not really defined like clearly. Like, I think a lot of wetsuits are like eco-branded, but that's just the term. Doesn't necessarily mean they are eco or sustainable.
That's right, because there's almost levels of how sustainable they are.
And you walk through town, and I'm sure there's hundreds of people buying wetsuits this week. They're not doing their research on the phone to decide what is eco the correct term, or this feels nice, or that's the right price.
But is there there's nothing wrong with that either. No. I think, you know, if somebody's willing to throw their own money at something.
What I'm saying is just it's really hard for a consumer to really understand.
I think you have to already have a care to you know, before you make a purchase of a wetsuit, as an example, to think, right, especially if you're new to surfing, because how could you possibly know that a wetsuit is going to go lie on a pile in a scrapyard for the next 100 years before it degrades? You wouldn't know that if you've never been part of that, which is obviously a huge problem. And let's go back to Wavelength.
Oh yeah.
What's the? I'm going to move away from before I dig any more holes for myself.
I think we're both digging holes.
Well, on the Wavelength then, on that, what do you think was the main turning point then in your career life that what you went from actually I want to buy Wavelength start Longboarder magazine and do all this, like, because it seems like you've, like what you've said, you've been like, I've done bits and pieces, and then now you've just
it's all a bit of like a domino effect. So we've had the marketing agency called Marwick Marketing, which is actually named after a surf spot in Orkney, which shall remain nameless, not anymore. And we've had that since 2012. And that's been a great little business. And then moving back, we're like, well, the marketing agency's great, but let's do the side hustle of Longboarder magazine. Like, let's not lean on. We don't necessarily want loads of advertisers. Mm-hmm. So how do we support that? Let's create an online surf shop, because Marwick has a background in e-commerce marketing, and we've been doing that for 13 years. So online surf shop gets set up as 10 Over Surf Shop to help fund Longboarder magazine, and it's all self-funded. Like, there's no external investment from various other people. It's all naturally grown. And then because we had this little ecosystem going, 10 Over Surf Shop did continue to grow. We're like, well, let's make it more than an online surf shop. Let's have a space for it. Up at the minute, it's at Atlantique. then Wavelength comes along as an opportunity, and we're like, actually, that kind of fits really nicely in this like ecosystem we're doing. So it's always, and then the expo is a bit of an extension on that. So it's just, if things make sense, then they fit in as a bit of a jigsaw puzzle to a bigger picture.
And it can't be easy though. It's a conversation I've had with a few people about, if you run a publication, for example, obviously there's massive costs come with that. The amount of, how many Wavelength magazines like in total went out last year, for example, or the year before? Like that adds up super quick. We wanted to do the same with the show. We didn't want to have any sponsors. I know you didn't. Like, we just wanted to be able to do it, keep it organic, and not like, we're going to pause this conversation. It's an important thing to talk about coffee. We wanted to avoid that. But I guess when costs add up, and it's the difference between being able to continue and not, and somebody's knocking at the door saying, if you put a page spread in here, we'll give you X amount of money.
So what we've done in the last couple of months is we've pulled all those little brands together, those trading companies, and we put it under the brand Dysujo.
Yeah.
And Wavelength on its own as a print publication, completely unsustainable, impossible. It wouldn't work as a business.
Yeah.
Longboarder on its own wouldn't work as a business. Turnover Surf Shop is not the only surf shop in Europe. But together they can all help each other out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, as Dysujo as a brand, like we can do the marketing side, because we've got the marketing agency, some really great people there. We have the media platforms, we have a bit of retail in our events.
Yeah.
We can really help a brand on multiple levels, which makes things like Wavelength, Longboarder Magazine sustainable for like many more years.
Yeah.
So all we've done is we've pulled those all a lot closer together to help each other.
What's Dysujo mean?
I'd have to kill you.
Please tell him. We don't want to see it.
It doesn't mean anything other than it's the overarching brand for everything we do.
So is it people's initials? Is one of them Joel?
Yeah. Nice. Dylan Summer Joel.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So I was just looking at your arm.
Oh, no way.
You're the clues were there.
Detective Pluto. That's good. So from a personal perspective, like everything I do is for my kids.
Yeah.
And so by creating this structure of business, like it will outlive me. And that's why I turn up to work every day.
Or you fall out with them when they're older and they'll go, actually, you've used my name, so...
That's probably more like it. Yeah, exactly. I'll be like, okay, off to Indo then. See you later.
What's kind of the future? What's the vision for Wavelength specifically?
I think Wavelength, as it's kind of like as a DJ mic booth. So as we raise Wavelength's game and then a bit the expo and then we'll just continue to have better resources.
Yeah.
So we surf media is really hard. Surf publication is really hard. Historically, no money in it. Yeah. We want to get to the point where, do you know what? There is budget to do stuff. There is budget to do cool stuff.
Okay.
And that is possible as a group of companies as opposed to an individual magazine. So in the future, I'd love for Wavelength to be producing higher quality, more regular content that celebrates British and European surfing.
You guys, even on social media, like publication aside, like the social media for Wavelength is always amazing. Like it's huge reach, big numbers. Have you guys presumably have also got control of that?
Yeah. So again, like the support in print is obviously the digital side. So the website gets a lot of traffic. Instagram, I think we reach 1.7 million people in any 30-day period. Yeah. So it's a really good, and again, we can use that to leverage. So I always think of like the publications as the little cherry on top of the big trifle, and the trifle layers are like the digital aspects of the surf magazines, the retail, the events, and then right at the top of the print mags.
How do you on the Wavelength side, longboarder side? Because I know I've had conversations with people before who have been like surf photographers and stuff like that, and using their media and stuff like that. How does that work within the Wavelength longboarder? Is it people submit stuff to you and they get paid for it, or is it if they submit stuff you can use it? How does that all work?
So always open for submissions. That's huge. Particularly Wavelength and longboarder. Everything gets paid for. Yeah. And we, since taking ownership of it, we actually increased the rates that Wavelength has historically paid for things. Right. Everything from like little little images to cover shots.
So on how do people submit to you then? Because I think that's something like people out there would like be like, not to get you inundated with submissions of like, here's a picture of my shit
our
surfboard.
reach is obviously global. That's what you say.
I think he was looking for his own submission.
It's just a drawing of a stick man.
How much is it for a cover shot?
How much is it for a picture?
That's where we're going.
How much is it for a picture of Mitch on the bog? That's what it is, because I've got loads of them.
But no, through the website, basically, through the website, there is a link that goes through to a submissions form that goes to the editors, Bella and Jason, and then they go through it.
Through it. Yeah.
Because what are you trying to do? Publications? Is it quarterly or monthly?
So Longboarder's once a year,
right?
Nice and easy. Wavelength's just twice a year. So summer, winter.
And then is it a case of you kind of see what we've got with the submissions as to what's going to go in, or have you generally up front already got, we want to talk about this, we want to talk about that? Or
yeah. So like where are we now? August. So print editor Bella is planning the winter issue. So she will already have a framework of the stories that she would like to tell.
Yeah.
Will that be like last winter's? Because obviously you're getting winter photos submissions, or is it like right up to the printing date where you're
right up to the printing date? Yeah. Ideally not.
Yeah, no. But if something comes in at the last minute,
it tends to be that way.
It's not like when I'm editing the episode on a Sunday as it goes out.
Yeah. But I think the recent cover shot, I think we were still umming and ahhing which one we were going to choose.
That one?
The day after it should have gone to print. So yeah.
That is a pretty sick photo, though.
Yeah. So when we bought Wavelength, but there were no processors with it.
Yeah.
So it's been a bit of a learning curve in terms of like,
a
really good thing that happened is we did also adopt Temple Media, who are good friends of ours from various projects before, and they had historically designed Wavelength, so they had their processors.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And you after the submission? Is that where you're going with that?
No, I've only got pictures of you.
No, because the reason Pete brought it up is like, we both have, surf photographer, filmmaker friends who, they submit and it's like, we'll use that to, not to you guys elsewhere, but, and then it never gets used, and 6, 7, 8 months, whatever's gone by, and it's not been used, and they're like, I'll kind of want to use it myself, but obviously the publication's got the first. Well, the idea is they have the first refusal. 7, 8 months later, you're like, right, I want to use it myself. But then they'll post it having not even mentioned photo credited, and I think there's for a surf filmmaker, photographer, there's definitely some frustration in the industry. I think it's hard as well to get any recognition. Really difficult,
but I think that's good to know. Like you say, like you submission. If you use it, you get paid for it. That's
and I think that's one. I know as newish owners to, or like myself, Jason, Ballard, the small Wavelength team, like we're very open to submissions and committed to giving that credit to the community.
Because I think like stuff like that we've often found with podcasts, like. We've said loads of times, it's great having a big name on. It's great getting a massive interview or something like that. But the amount of times we're surprised by we've had like a group or someone on and that episode's just gone nuts because in their community, they're like the hub of their community.
Yeah.
And all that is like all their whole community is like, wow, listen to it, that sort of thing. So with submissions to a magazine, it's got to be, you do one submission to someone in some little surf place which is massive, but we don't know clearly like how big it is, and it just goes nuts. It's quite a big deal. I think I like the sound of that, and it's just a really.
I mean, a magazine without submissions is no longer a magazine. So we really do it's something we really talk about a lot internally. Is a really important. Yeah. And I think it's maybe historically that kind of relationship has been glossed over a bit.
Yeah.
But we recognise that actually that's. The reason Wavelength exists is to support not just the surfing community, but like creative community as well. And that's like the expo. We've created the platform. But it's for everyone else to feed into it, as much as they want or as little as they want.
Do you guys have your own filmmakers and photographers, or do you? Is it?
Look at Mitch trying to get a job.
More the merrier, though.
I mean, you're in a great place to be able to go and create, obviously, content and stuff for the publication. I mean, you must be surrounded by people with insane stories and
there's and that I mean, we just published a couple on Boardmasters with Paulie, who runs the contest, and Jeff Tyman, who was one of the original co-founders back in 1981 of Wavelength, and his stories of Wavelength and the big surf event back in the 80s. So, and that's just in a 2 mile radius of people we can.
Well, we know that for like when we've come to Newquay and done stuff before. We've got like so much choice that we didn't even scratch the surface. We could probably do like 5 years of podcasts from Newquay itself.
True. But that's why we're trying to do it when we come back down. It's going to be, we're going to go a bit wider. I want to be a Cornwall edition, and not Newquay specifically like we done last time.
That's not what you said. You said everyone in Newquay. No, that wouldn't.
And I wonder, without going down a rabbit hole here, politics.
Classic.
How do you navigate? There's obviously a lot of politics around surfing. And not just the surf element. About there's obviously things that have gone on with this festival as well. We don't have to speak about what it is, but there's so much politics involved in. When you're somebody that's putting stuff out there for the general public to see, how hard is that to navigate, and has that been problematic?
So from a Wavelength's perspective, we just take the stance that if there's something that directly impacts surfing from a political perspective, like access to the beach, dredging, then absolutely that's a Wavelength thing. If it's not linked that closely, then it's not a Wavelength thing. That's something completely separate. It's a surf magazine, right? We pick up a surf magazine to escape, to chill out, have a, so we're very, very much aware that's what we'll stick to.
So after you've just trodden Mitch's fucking minefield, question.
Let's go deeper.
Go deeper.
Who inspired you growing up? Surfing or business wise, whatever it is, who inspired you?
Surfing wise, I mean, growing up on the Isle of Wight, Johnny Fryer was a couple of years younger than me, but so he would have been like, I don't know. So I've always thought Johnny was pretty good. And I was shortboarder back then as well. And then business wise, I don't know, anyone that does something for themselves, like on their own, it's like Steve Skinner, Skinner's Brewery. I always looked up to him as like a young or a late teen moving to Newquay. I'd created a cool brand, and so all that stuff. So anyone that has gone out on their own, and because it's not easy in whatever field of business it is inspiring.
If you had to do all this again, would you do it all again?
Yeah. Would you do it different?
Wait. I'd ask you the same question at the end of the Surf Skate Expo.
Yeah, right. Ask me then. I wouldn't do anything different.
Have you found it harder? Like, I guess if you set something up new, there's not an expectation of how it should be. But I guess you have an obligation with Wavelength to keep the sort of natural rhythm of that. Is that difficult, or do you feel that you've got a new direction?
With Wavelength specifically, I think because we're like the fourth owners of it, so I think it's gone through loads of different eras.
Right, okay.
And I think it's so the path is somewhat set, and it's really like, how do we make this next era as good as possible for the readers, the surfers and the photographers?
Is that a thing in it? If you want to keep what was good, but you want to put your own new thing on it as well?
I think it's cool. Like in the office, we've got every single copy of the magazine since 1981, and if you don't even have to read from them, you just flick through them. You can see the eras.
That's really cool.
You did have a Gillette Scotsman in there,
and it goes. And and our mission is just that we won't own it forever. Someone else will own it in the future. But our kind of tenure that we're like looking after it, we just want it to be as good as we can make it. And,
fair.
Well, then on that same sort of thing of that, getting there and what's happened, what's it taught you? What have you learned about yourself and about this whole process of acquiring businesses?
For me personally, I like to see opportunity and be like, if no one else is going to do that, I'll do it. And just to see what you can do. Like, life is a game. It's not. Everyone takes it way too seriously. And if you don't try, you don't know. And if no one else is trying, like, well, let's give it a shot. And it's a bit cliche, but that it's not that serious. Like it's not.
Did you say you had a background in marketing, or is that kind of just a second tier?
Yeah, the only background I had prior to starting the marketing agency was I was very fortunate 2 years ago. I used to be sponsored by Fat Face for longboarding.
Oh, right,
and
okay.
So for about 4.5 years, I worked really closely with Will Blair and their marketing team when it was still owned by Tim and Jules, and I was like massively impressed by what they did as a marketing team, because they were totally out the box as a team back then. And then I had the online surf holiday company that I grew just as like SEO and Google Ads came out. I learned the technical side doing it, and then I saw how creative like the Fat Face marketing team were back then. So that was my background in marketing. I think experience.
The reason I bring it up, I've worked with quite a few marketing agencies recently, and what I've certainly found is that even with the best product brief on the planet, if you're not a surfer, it is impossible.
I can just see both of us smiling at you, thinking he's going to fucking dig himself a hole.
No, but it's a hard thing. It's a really difficult thing for someone who doesn't get it to get. Yeah. Because in your head as a non-surfer, I guess you're thinking it's Jack Johnson, it's the Beach Boys, and it's sunshine and palm trees. Yeah. You're not seeing 6mm rubber and hoods up, and it's freezing, and you're in a car park on a sideways rainy day in Pease Bay. That's the reality of surfing. You know, I think it's hard for an agency to understand. Yeah, that.
And it's amazing how often it's done wrong as well, isn't it? How often it's portrayed wrongly.
Guinness got it right in that advert years ago. Apart from if that had been this morning, he waits, he would have been dead by the time he waited.
Which advert was that? Oh, he waits. No, because there was an advert, I can't remember who it was for, but I think it was... Yeah, I remember that. But there was one for, it wasn't Guinness, it might have been like a perfume, and it's like it might be Alana Blanchard, but she's surfing in the ocean on a blackboard, and like the husband's trying to find her in the big posh house on the hill.
Sauvage or something
Sauvage. Like that. But the thing is, there's no wax on the board, and she's like properly charging this monster wave, and then you see the board under her arm, and it's like it's brand new glassed, just no wax on it.
That's talent.
Absolute talent. Yeah, she done well there.
So, questions we often ask before I circle back to the Surf and Skate Expo and ask you for a snippet from what's going on. Synopsis. Best and worst wipeouts. Sorry, best wave, worst wipeout.
Best wipeout.
What's your best wipeout? What's your worst wipeout? Best wave, worst wipeout.
Best wave ever,
or best session. I think one that really sticks out.
Oof, man, that's a really tough one. I would say I think I was 19. We'd just rented a flat at Kira. We'd spent all our money getting to Australia, so we were sleeping on our board bags, and then we had like a sunrise session, like probably only like shoulder high, head high, but at the time that was big enough for what I wanted anyway. But just golden barrel, like golden perfect long waves that you finally felt like what you'd grown up seeing in surf magazines was real. Yeah. So that was a friggin' long time.
See, there's something on that. People, when they've surfed in Australia, I find people from the UK always say, if it's a UK one, a sunset session. Anyone that's talking Australia based, it's always a morning, a dawn.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I don't know. I've just noticed. That.
Yeah,
probably it could be. But no, I've noticed it recently. Of a couple of things I've heard, and it's like anytime it's Australia based, it's like, oh, it was a dawny, like, you know. And it's
have turned into Cluedo, haven't you? Yeah. You're picking up all these little things. You're reading the tattoos.
I know. Yeah, he's
all over it. He's getting you a job. And what about your either worst wipeout or just a horrendous session?
Probably worst one was surfing Tamri in Morocco. Yeah, it was a terrible beach break anyway. But it was like, it was a pretty solid day, and I'd taken a lip to the ear, a wave lip to the
somebody
ear.
Licked your ear.
Somebody licked my ear.
It's one of seagulls.
And it kind of like it burst my eardrum. So as I was getting drilled to the bottom, I'd also lost sense of like what was up and down.
Oh no!
Which meant I kind of swam the
kept banging your head,
and then came up, and I just basically felt the ocean kind of drain out my ear. Ooh. But that at that time there weren't as many surf camps or people around in general, so I had to get the bus from Tamri to Agadir to go to the hospital. And I don't speak Arabic and I don't speak French. And I think they thought I had an ear infection. So they gave me some eardrops, and so for the following 10 days, I then I was putting eardrops into an eardrum that was burst.
Oh no!
And only to find out 10 days later that was not what I was supposed to be doing. So that's probably the worst one. I mean, there's been plenty, but.
And as we actually said we wouldn't ask this question anymore, but I feel like it's relevant. Just because I like it. It's such a political thing. But you just referenced that best session in Oz.
Yeah.
You said it was shoulder to head high. Let's just say it was head high, okay?
Yeah.
How tall are you?
6'1".
Perfect, right? So, that wave, the face of that wave, in feet, how big was that wave?
6 foot.
That's straight from Wavelength Longboard magazine. Because most people would probably say 3 foot or and it's such a we asked it on the last couple of editions of the show just because it is such a political thing, and you can say like Sandy Kerr was the best when we asked that, and people just turn into politicians and well it's I guess it's 6 foot. But it's not because it's 3 foot, and you're like, well, which one is it? Like,
I just like I think maybe it's just growing up in the Isle of Wight with like a lot of the guys there were windsurfers, so it was they always talk about boom high, mast high, double over, and so for me it makes like shoulder high, chest high, waist high. Like it's just so much easier because also like how big is a foot?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I can tell you exactly how big a foot is. It's a foot, which is why we use the unit of measure, but not applying that unit of measure.
The interesting one I heard recently, which we should change that to, is how high is double overhead?
Depends on how big you are.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's true.
There you go. Because I heard, I've heard variations from double overhead is over your head plus like 2 foot a foot to then double overhead. To me, double overhead is my size plus my size again.
So 12 foot something, yeah.
But yeah, I've heard lots of different variations of where double overhead goes as well, which is another minefield.
It's just funny because when you then add in big wave surfing, that they measure it accurately.
Yeah.
Obviously, like Sebastian Stoutner, his wave was measured in shin bones, but it was measured to the foot. That's true because the shin bone's about a foot. That's how they take the measurement. But suddenly when you get... So we play it down in surfing to the point where you're actually going to go big wave and try to measure who had the biggest, but you measure it exactly.
Into something else.
Why don't we just call it that from the start? Yeah. It's pointless.
yeah, it's a weird one, that one, isn't it?
Yeah. So
Surf and Skate
Expo. Tell us roughly what's going on, what's happening, where it is, when it is, how much it's going to cost people, everything they need to know.
Everything you need to know.
Go.
So, okay, I'm very, very well versed at this at the minute. So
Go for it.
We shall see.
So 3-day event, 12th, 13th, 14th September. It's going to be in Newquay. So the Expo Village and the Expo Hall is actually at Newquay Sports Centre. The Expo Village will have all the surf and skateboard brands doing various activations, getting to meet the consumers. We have a purpose-built skate ramp with a secret feature on it. The Expo Hall, Expo Hall will be where all the presentations and the cool Tony Alva stuff's all happening. There's also stuff going on at Concrete Waves, which is a 2-minute skate away from the main venue. Free to attend everything apart from the awards at the Expo Hall, which is where all the presentations are. So that's ticketed. That's £49 for the 3-day pass. And then the only other thing that, not the only other thing, but the other thing that's happening is the Wavelength UK Surfer Awards ceremony. So for the last few months, the public have been voting in 12 categories for their top surfers in a range of categories. And those 4 finalists have been invited to the award ceremony, which is open to the public, and that's going to be a big night. So that's the Friday night.
What are we in that? Are we in?
I didn't see your name.
Oh,
it's an oversight.
Oh, yeah.
But as well as best surfers, it's best shapers and stuff as well. Is
Shapers,
that right?
longboard shapers, shortboard shapers, surf photographers, eco ambassadors, big wave surfers, female, long, male, etc. Yeah, it's shaping up to be a good one. Sam Bleakley's hosting it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good fun night.
Yeah,
really looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I hope you're looking forward to it after all the work you've put in.
And I hope you get to enjoy at least 2 minutes of it on the night.
I will. Yeah, well, I look forward to looking back through the highlights.
Yeah. If you can just step back and just appreciate your hard work.
Yeah, I might be hiding in the cupboards or something.
People are wanting to find you, to check you out. If they want to check out Surf and Skate Expo, Wavelength, and Longboarder Magazine, where could they do so?
Yeah, good question. Instagram. LinkedIn. Yeah. Wavelength. Dysujo is our overarching company. But yeah, we're here in Newquay. Office always open. Online. Pretty easy to find, to be fair.
And it's a cool hangout here as well. Like it's a normal.
The seagulls are pretty wild.
Yeah, they're pretty noisy. So people can just come in here and have a drink and a coffee and workspace.
It's a co-working space here, and then we've got private office space, and there's hot desking, and an event space too.
And one question I saw on a podcast recently, which I think I've asked someone: "Shut up, seagulls." But I'm stealing totally. What should we have asked you that we didn't ask you?
Oh, nice. Ooh. That's cool.
That question.
That's what you should have asked.
That's what we should have asked.
Yeah.
And you did.
You did.
Anything we should have asked you about that you think?
Anything you should have asked? No, I didn't. No, I don't think so.
We covered everything.
Anything we shouldn't have spoke about? Everything I brought up.
Festivals being owned by.
Well, cheers for that, Chris. That was super fun. What an epic location. The spot, you've got the offices, or they've got the offices. It kind of reminds me a little bit like, like in the movies, I guess, like Google offices. It's just sort of fun vibe and just a cool place to hang out right over the beach overlooking town. We really enjoyed it, and it was great to chat to you.
Yeah, home of like everything now, isn't it? Longboard magazine, Wavelength magazine, Surf and Skate Expo, which is just I'm so looking forward to that. It's going to be epic. Even though at this moment in time I'm an absolute sweaty mess because the weather is ridiculous again. And
it's not here.
Is it not? Oh, you should come down here, mate.
Sunny.
It's lovely down here.
It's sunny, but it's not this blistering heat wave that I heard about, or as I used to remember it when I was a kid, summer. Didn't have to have a colour next to the weather that was coming with it, and didn't have to have a name. But anyway,
also, we should say thank you very much to Chris as well for inviting us to the Wavelength party as well, because I also got look at that, eh? A little Wavelength Surfers Barbecue Yeti mug. Hey,
you got the better colour. You got the better colour as well. I didn't realise when we were selecting the goodie bags, I kind of just assumed it was all the same for the most part. It was, minus the colour of that summer barbecue Wavelength Yeti mug, and I probably chose a less favourable colour for me. It's kind of like it's like picking up an army haver bag, which is like a ration pack, but for an afternoon, and it's full of the worst food you could imagine, like a sandwich with nothing in it, ready salted crisps, which isn't a flavour, and what we'd call a cat's arse, a sausage roll, right, probably still frozen. You're like, how is this supposed to sustain me for the day? But the one element that might be in that that differentiates between the next haver bag is the chocolate biscuit. You might get a Kit Kat, you might get a Rocky, and you're like, oh, please let me get something good. And that's what's happened with these bags from Wavelength with the coloured mugs. You got a much better colour than I did. But it was really cool, man. And what a hub for...
It wasn't actually the only Yeti mug we got as well that weekend, was it? Because we got a little Yeti mug, which was the Rising Tides Boardmasters one. Yeti just throwing mugs at people down at Boardmasters, I think.
There's loads of people with concussions.
Yeah, we were saying like to Logan was saying like all the events there's always Yeti stuff, and I said like he's just moved into a new house, and it was like Logan's gonna have like go into his kitchen, it'll just be open his cupboards, it'll just be Yeti mugs and cutlery and everything's just Yeti. Its dining room chairs are Yeti chairs.
Mate, you bring Logan into the episode every single time.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, massive shout to Chris, massive thank you to the team there in the office. We were made to feel super welcome. It was such a hub, wasn't it, for like just people from surfing. There was so many cool people there. It was super nice to catch up with loads of people. We bumped into Alana, Brad Rochford. We bumped into Sally and Tom. Bumped into people who I haven't seen for such a long time. All just in that little courtyard with a barbecue. And then... Also,
and then not just that though, going around Newquay as well, the amount of people and the amount of surfers and people like in office, like brands that as said to us that weekend, we listened to the podcast, was like fucking mind blowing of like people who listen to it.
It really was, and you know what? It's I was saying this to someone else today. Being back to work and being back to reality, it was a bit of a, I'm not having an easy time at the minute. There's a lot of things going on which doesn't really matter, but that's going on. So it was a bit of I probably call last week a well-needed distraction, or at least I could take my mind off something for a week. And we put a lot of time into this show. We've put a lot of time, a lot of effort. We've gave up a lot of time. It's cost us both a lot of money. But do you know what I mean?
I was going to say that last bit.
But the amount of people that came up and, God, I wish I could remember all the names of everyone that did. But Pete can, so he'll reel them off in a minute. But everyone,
John,
everyone
Steve.
that came up to us, there was people just like stood on the grassland by the skate ramp at Fistral, like giving it peace rocker signs, shouting UK Surf Show as we were walking up, and just people coming up telling us they listened for so long, they've heard every episode. It in person, like we can see the stats, right, of how many people listen, and it's fantastic. But when people actually come up and make you feel good about what we're doing, or make us feel good about what we're doing, it was super nice, man. And I just wanted to give a huge thank you to everybody that does listen and show support, even if you still don't, comment on YouTube and Instagram, but thank you.
Don't sound desperate. But
it was a tiring week, but I think that's just mostly because, as you know, no news to you, but I'm running off to go bleed 30 times a day uncontrollably. Massive shout to the Headland Hotel for letting me sneak in and use your spa toilets multiple times. Very comfortable place to need to bleed. Comfortable toilet paper. Thank you. I was fucked.
I think it's the mixture of like the guys from Rising Tide. We should give a massive shout out to Rising Tide as well, because like Danny, Matt, Kieran, there was other people involved that I'm not going to remember all their names, but like those three were the main three that we dealt with, and the work they put into that, and and the people that came up and spoke, and like there was like loads of different people. We hosted, I can't remember, we hosted the Wave Project talk. We hosted our own live podcast that we streamed, actually, which I've had feedback on. Apparently some people said you couldn't hear the audio very well because there was loads of background noise going on, and people were dipping in and out of it and stuff like that. Apparently there was loads of questions, but we physically didn't have anyone to read the questions and ask them to us. But yeah, all of that aside, we hosted that. We hosted the Wave Project. I did. We
hosted Brad.
Yeah, Brad did Ben Raymer's talk as well, which was about skateboarding, depression, mental health, and stuff like that. That was good. And man, there was just so much going on. The level of surfing down there was incredible. The level of aggro in the water that we saw at one point, which some guy screamed. It was equally incredible, because I swear some guy screamed from South Fistral at someone, and we heard him in North.
What I heard, and actually it'd be interesting to hear if anyone else, somebody was in the water. We were down at not quite South Fistral, but most of the way down. It's a higher tide, and I actually we can come back to the surfing, but man, all I wanted to do, there was surf every day, right? There was swell every day, and some days were pretty solid, and other days were not so solid. And it seems like the whole week it only had lefts. For me, I didn't have a single what I would call a flow state right, as in one that I would want to not only watch when I go back and check my clips, but download and save and do something with. I had none of them on the right. And I only had a few rights, but the session we went down for the rights, we were in for quite a while. No rights came. I heard a dude screaming. I'm not talking shouting. I heard people shouting on the water, right? I'm talking screaming. And he's going, "You just ran over my fucking hand, you..." Right, and he's gone on for ages. So I'm curious if anyone else heard that and what actually went on, other than the fact that clearly somebody's hand got run over.
Steve-O paddled over from Temple of Fringe, and he was like, he's surfing again. He said, I know he's still fringing bits, but he's on it. He said he's really loving his longboarding again, I think, at the moment, and his boards. And he paddled past on his longboard, and he's like, it's getting well aggro over there, and he just paddled past. Literally, I tell you how, like, you know, when you can tell how good someone is at surfing. He paddled past me saying, it's aggro over there. I turned around and looked, turned back, and he was nose riding a wave in. I was like, what the fuck just happened? Like, literally. And then we went in his girlfriend's wife's place, Kook, the juices as well,
juice.
And that was really cool.
God,
Kook juice.
So good. I had an immune
So
booster.
good.
Peter, well, he didn't do a brain booster or an IQ booster, but he just had a milkshake.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I had a passion something.
You did.
Yeah, those passion juices were fucking. They were just nice. Everything nice. I tell you, there's a few places we ate that have gone downhill, but I tell you what, we've got so much to talk about, like with rising tides and the comp and everything like that. What we'll do, we'll end this. We'll put Chris's out, and we'll stick another episode of you and me chatting and catching up about it for next week. Yeah, but we'll just record it now because I've got too much to talk about.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Let's do that. Yeah,
this is how our discussions go online and like in person. We're just like, should we do that? Yeah, let's do that. All right then. But yeah, thanks to Chris. Go and check out the Surf and Skate Expo. Go and get tickets. There's tickets to the events is free. You've got to pay to go to the talks, but some of the talks look absolutely amazing. Like some of the talkers, Tony Alva, Cotty. I can't even think. There's just talks after talks of like amazing people there and stuff going on, and the stalls are going to be awesome. And we're going to be there in our own little studio recording. Come and speak to us.
Yeah, it's going to be class. Check out Chris on Instagram if you want to. He's Chris_TR7. I believe. Obviously, check out Wavelength. It's nice to see them getting busy again. Check out Longboarder magazine, and if you are down that way in Newquay, pop into their offices up on the Town Headland and just say hello. Got a good coffee machine.
Yeah, that's it. Brilliant. We'll see you next week.